Personally, I don't think I don't think that Ribado's phone was tapped. I don't think so. I think what happened, I think there's an informant in, suspect that there's informant in the NSA's office. Is an informant that could have listened to the call and pass the information outside that Ribadu make the call. An informant that would know that thallium sulfate was imported if actually that is what took place. I suspect, I'm not sure, I suspect that it's possible El-Rufai had an informant, someone in the NSA office who gave him those information. And he's not going to come out and say, I have somebody there who listened in and who got it. He's not going to say that. He's going to now like say, okay, there was a wiretapping or something like that. I don't think there was any wiretapping because that one would not be really something serious. Because I've listened to other lawyers who have made the case that that is very serious. The NSA's National Security Advisor is closest to the president on national security issues. And so if you say you're tapping the phone of National Security Advisor, so you are listening to things that have national security implications and the information could be compromising to the national security interests of Nigeria and all of that. So those ones are very serious and this thing. I just think that I think the NSA, National Security Advisor, look at his office, look at those that he's working with. The same thing played out with when you have Peter Obi, 2020 election. After the 2020 elections, there was an audio of a call that Peter Obi made to Pastor Yedipo, and that call they said a lot of things that were like political strategy and stuff like that, you know. And then there was this talk that it's possible that Peter Obi's phone was tapped, and that is why that this thing. Me, I don't think Peter Obi's phone was tapped. I think someone close to Obi was privy to that call and the person recorded it. It's possible it looked like a call that was made on uh, the I think it's a call made on speakerphone where Obi was talking on speakerphone and there were other people present. And one of those people recorded it. And so you could hear Peter Obi and you could hear what Pastor Yedipo said. You know. Then I thought that it was naive of Obi to have done that. Nigerian politicians, if they want to make key strategic meeting, they do it in person. And sometimes they even go abroad. They go to Europe, go to that place to make sensitive this thing so that people will not hear it, people will not know. If you are making key strategic things, you don't do it over an insecure line. You don't just do it over a call and let the other people and people who listen in or record it and something like that. It's something that you go and meet with the person face to face to discuss. Because some of these, you just like, have you heard of key strategic meetings of APC and all these other big parties and all that? You don't hear the calls and all that, but they do hold strategic meetings. So I think Peter Obi made a mistake then. Not everything that's a political strategy. You have options and all. Not everything will be said in public because some things will sound somehow when it's said in an open space. But it could be one of the things, political strategy and stuff like that. So I think that was what happened with Peter Obi's case. Somebody close to him recorded Peter Obi when he was making that call. And after the elections had happened, right? And they were in the process of, I think INEC has even announced that Tinubu won and they were in court, and the person, it was reported in order to undermine the credibility of Obi as the case was going to the elections and stuff like that, So I think the NSA have the same issue here. The office of the NSA has been implicated in a number of things, like, you know, in terms of people working in his office doing one or two things. So it's important for the NSA office to look at this. NSA, National Security Advisor, to look at the office. It's an office where you have lots of people working in it, a lot of equipment and all of that. So they should look at those working there. You know, if they have capacity to listen in to calls and all of that, some of those people could also try to sabotage the system and stuff like that. So, as an opportunity yet again, the issue of the office of the NSA came up during the so-called military coup, this thing, those working in the office. So this one coming up again, the NSA should really look into the communication and all that things. You have to look into it and the people working with him. So that's because the last thing you want is when you are now making key strategic national security communication, then somebody will now leak it to other people. You never know which other people have that capacity to listen in on such private conversations and such vital private conversation and stuff like that. And then for El-Rufai, we've seen that after that interview with Charles Nyagolu, a number of issues came up. And the issue of Dadiyata, Abubakar Idris, who was abducted from his home in 2019. He was a lecturer with Federal University Dosima in Katsina State. He lectures in the English department, and his family lives in Kaduna, so he used to travel to Katsina, do his lectures, then come back to Kaduna. It's a Kwankwasia supporter, so he's a supporter of Kwankwaso, and all that. Then they said he used to make comments on his social media handle, Twitter, and all that. Comments that were critical of the El-Rufai's government, and critical of the government at the time. So because of those critical comments, there were allegations that it's possible that it was the government, at the time in the states were responsible, could have been responsible for his alleged abduction and all that, So, but all this while, there's been this every year. There's this, where is Daddy Yata? Hashtag Daddy Yata. Hashtag where is Daddy Yata? It's people who knew him, people who were fellow critics, fellow activists, fellow Kwankwasia members, fellow colleagues and all that. Then more especially his parents, then his mother was still alive, before she died in 2022. The father is alive, the brother, the wife is there with the young children, So the family members, the friends of Dadiata, they've been talking. Where is Dadiata? He arrived late at home around 1 to 2 a.m. He just entered, he opened the gates, he was about to move in, he was abducted, he was made to get into his car and they drove off, with him and all of that. Years and years and years, there's been this, where is that Yata? Where is 2019? We're now in 2026. How many years, has that been? And yet, we didn't hear any official response from the Kaduna State government. There was no official response. There was nothing. Also, okay, we have investigated, this result was found and all that. There was nothing like that. There was this silence from Kaduna State government, under El-Rufai. The now that is left to now have the Ubasani, there's been this silence. So the issue of Dayata came up when Charles Anyagulu asked El-Rufai, because now El-Rufai is claiming that there were attempts to adopt him at the airport, which is eerily similar to what adoption words that was used in case of Dadiata. So I was asked about Dadiata, and then he now said that Dadiata was also a critic of Ganduje, who was governor of Kaduna State at the time. That it's possible that he alleged that Ganduje could have been responsible for his adoption, and said some years Later, there was a policeman in Kano who was transferred to Ekiti that confessed as well. Among those that picked at the Yatta, they feel so bad about it and all that. So the issue now is that if the El-Rufai knew of this, why has this issue not been brought up? The good thing now is that the DSS has now reopened the case, as was reported in the news, and so they are going to look into all of these issues. Where, especially now that there is a new angle of Ganduje. Ganduje, former governor of Kano State, has come out to deny that he was involved in the adoption, alleged adoption of Daddy Yatta. So that issue is there, issue of Daddy Yatta. Then there is the issue of Audu Mekori that El-Rufai raised. That Mekori made a tweet, stating something that supposedly happened in Kaduna State, and that thing did not really happen, and as such that they informed Mekori to take back what he said, that Mekori didn't do that and they have to involve the police and all that. So Mekori was arrested, taken to Kaduna also. And later Mekori sued the El-Rufai, and both at the I think Federal High Court and at Appeal Court, he won that there was unlawful arrest and detention, and so he was awarded millions of fine that he will pay to Mekori. But El-Rufai has appealed that the case is now at the Supreme Court. So Audu Mekori is the founder and chairman of Chocolate City Entertainment Group, and he made a tweet in 2017. So Audu Mekori has come out to say his own side of the story and said that he made the tweets and then he heard something from the driver and made the tweet. Later, he was able to find out that the driver lied to him. So they even went to the police station with the driver and he made a retraction and all that. The police authorities investigated and didn't find anything, but yet he was abducted, you know. So, and Stephen Kefas has also spoken, and other people have also spoken as well. So all of these things, the DSS is investigating the Dadiata case. They've opened it. DSS has charged El-Rufai to court over the wiretapping claims that someone tapped the phone, somebody that he knew tapped the phone of the NSA. So that one is there. Then we have the ICPC case arising from the Kaduna State House of Assembly that has investigated the El-Rufai's administration and there were allegations of financial misappropriation. Then we have the EFCC case. So many things. So going by what Akim Baba Ahmed said, that if he were to advise El-Rufai, that he would have advised him that if you are in a dish, stop digging. So that point is quite important. The key thing to note that El-Rufai is a key member of the ADC opposition coalition. It's just the same way that Malami SAN, key member of ADC, and we see the what's his own thing that is facing. So key member of the opposition coalition who have found a platform in the ADC, they are really facing a lot now. So considering the role that El-Rufai has to play in the ADC, according to Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed, El-Rufai should have been more strategic, But who knows? El-Rufai is a very smart person. He's quite intelligent and well read. So it's possible that El-Rufai is bringing up these issues so that, if the federal government is now prosecuting him on wiretapping, on issue of talking about stallion or financial allegation, it will now look more like like a persecution rather than a prosecution or something like that. So maybe he has an angle to play. But I agree with what Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed said, that if you are in a dish, you try and stop digging, in order not to worsen if you are a disturbed again. So those are some of the things that are playing out, you know,